This is Richard Hayzler, proud principal of Pequannock Valley Middle School, a grade 6 through 8 school in Pompton Plains, New Jersey, as part of the Pequannock Township School District. Welcome to this week's episode of Learning Sparks, where we learn and grow together, talking about instructional strategies that enhance student learning in the classroom. Here at PV, we've been in school now for about a month and a half, and I know for some of you, you've been in school a little bit longer, and so we're really getting into student learning. We're seeing what our students' strengths are, and we're also seeing where we need areas of growth. And one of the things that we really need to begin to ask ourselves is, what are we doing with the students who are struggling with learning or struggling behaviorally in the classroom? Because we want to make school a place where all students feel welcome and all students feel success. So here at PV, I'd like to talk with you about how we use the Response to Intervention program, also otherwise known as RTI. The Response to Intervention program is a multi-tiered approach to the early identification and support of students with learning and behavior needs in a general education setting. It identifies and helps to identify ways that we can help students who may be struggling with their learning or struggling with their behavior. And it begins with high quality instruction. It's taking a look at our instructional strategies that we're using in the classrooms and screening our students to see what's working and what's not working. It provides struggling learners with increased levels of intervention, so that if a student is struggling with learning, what strategies can we put in place to help them? And it's all guided by data. It's all taking a look at how our students are performing in class using formative data, using summative data, using behavioral data, and really tracking student progress. It's critically important to the RTI process that we're maintaining a system to evaluate our students. Because in order for a response to intervention model to work really well, you need 4 major components. And it really begins with that high-quality, scientifically based instruction. It's taking a look at how you're implementing lessons in the classroom and what strategies you're using to help your students be successful. Once you have that in place, then you have ongoing student assessment. You can't just assess students once or twice a marking period or a trimester. You should be assessing your students on a daily or weekly basis. There are so many apps out there today that will help you generate data if you have trouble doing it. Apps like Quizlet and Pear Deck and Quizzes all provide quick ways to do formative assessment in the classroom and gather student data so that you can modify your lessons to help your students. The third component or third piece in order for RTI to work well is tiered instruction. It's being able to differentiate. When you know that you're having struggling learners in the classroom, it's not just giving tests and then moving on. It's making sure that you're helping those struggling learners move towards mastery. Because if you continue to move on from lesson to lesson, those students are going to continue to struggle. So it's important that we plug the hole, so to speak, and help students that may be learning by differentiating instruction. So if that means that you have to work in different groups with different students, then that's what you do to help them be successful. And the last thing to have RTI work well is you have to involve the parents. Parents are key to the process. Having them come in for meetings, keeping them in tune with what's happening in the classroom and what strategies you're using to help their child be successful, it really makes a big impact on the process. With response to intervention, it's really about supporting the learner, helping them become more independent with their learning and helping them self-manage their emotions or their behavior. And so you look at what we're doing in terms of identifying the situation. So when you're looking at response to intervention for a student, you're looking at 4 primary components. You're identifying the problem. What is it? Is it a learning problem or is it a behavior problem? And once we have that problem identified, which could be both, it could be a learning and a behavior problem, we then have to analyze it. Why is this problem happening? Why are they struggling with their learning? Why are they behaving inappropriately in the classroom? So once we know what the problem is and why it's happening, we put interventions in place. The third step is that intervention. How are we going to solve the problem? What steps are we going to use to make it better for the student? And then the last component of RTI is the evaluation phase. The strategies that we're putting in place, are they working? How long have we been with the interventions? Interventions take a little bit longer than a week. So you have to look at maybe a 3 to 6 week process in order to make sure that it's really working well. And so for RTI to be successful, you want to have that problem identification, the problem analysis, the intervention, and the evaluation. It's a key part to the response to intervention protocol for you as a teacher and for the administrators and for the counselors who may be involved in the process. When you look at RTI overall, it's a three-tiered process. Okay? In Tier 1, that's where the interventions are happening in a general education setting, and you may be able to help students at that level. However, if they continue to struggle with their learning or their behavior, you move to a Tier 2, which may be you move a student to a small group setting, okay, within that general education classroom, or maybe you provide them with some one-on-one instruction while some of the other students are learning. It's that differentiation piece that we discussed earlier. And then finally, if that doesn't work, you move to a super intense level, which is Tier 3, and you're providing short interventions, taking a look at maybe that the child needs either a 504 or needs to be referred to special services for an evaluation to assess whether they may have a learning disability. And so that's a critical, important process to this RTI piece, because eventually, if a student is having that much difficulty in a classroom, we want to provide the systems in place for them in order to spark their learning. So if you need help setting up RTI in your building, please feel free to reach out to me at Rich Hayzler on Twitter. I'd be more than happy to talk with you about how we use RTI here. And feel free to contact me at richard.hayzler@gmail.com as well. I'm always happy to support you as we help spark student learning in the classroom. So as always do what's best for kids, and thanks for joining us on this episode of Learning Sparks. Have a great day.